this was the first weekend, at least from a college standpoint, where I really felt like football was back.
The college football ratings were gigantic this past weekend, Chad. From top to bottom, starting on Thursday all the way through the weekend.
So 5 games had an average of over 5 million viewers this past weekend. Starting with Thursday night, Ohio State, Minnesota, 6.3 million average. Biggest game of the weekend, no surprise, Georgia, Clemson, 8.8 million average. By the way, Ohio State, Minnesota on a Thursday night, that was the 10th highest rated game in Fox history of college football, wow, which is big. Alabama, Miami, 5.67 million. Penn State, Wisconsin, 5.4 million. And then Florida State, Notre Dame, 7.75 million. That was a great game. Best one of the weekend. That ended up being second behind Georgia, Clemson. And if you look at the 3 games in a row on ABC, ESPN on Saturday, it was Tulane, Oklahoma, it was Alabama, Miami, and then it was Georgia, Clemson. All those games averaged out over 5 million. Even putting Tulane, Oklahoma in that mix.
And you could say the Alabama-Miami rating, the number, is disappointing. And I say disappointing because if that game is remotely close, it crushes it the same way Clemson and Georgia did. If you just compare the numbers with all of it. It's the largest opening weekend audience in 4 years. That Georgia-Clemson, 8.8, I think is what you said they averaged on ABC.
8.8,
That's a massive number for them, and that's great.
I've got one contributing factor, perhaps. Largely populated area of the country had nothing to do and was underwater.
I mean, I don't think that part of the country watches college football as much as everywhere else in America.
No, it
anyway.
doesn't.
So
but I think
a
lot of those people were home watching TV and probably had it on in higher numbers than generally.
Let me give you my theory on this, because this is a question we asked on our show a year ago about this time. Do you miss the crowds? Right, when you're watching football, when football was coming back.
Well, you mentioned the Wisconsin game.
Yeah, we'd ask the question, do you miss the crowds? Here's our answer.
Yep.
Yes, miss the crowd. Last year's college football season was a debacle in a lot of ways, with games being canceled.
And a lot of people were sitting at home last year.
Didn't know what was going to happen. No one was at the games to start the season. Then you had 25% attendance at most places as the season went on. It was very different. I really got the sense this weekend, guys, a year ago there was all of this fanfare about football is back. You know, we can't stop football. Football's back. America's back. People want football. And now I really get the sense that football just now is really back. This was the first weekend, at least from a college standpoint, where I really felt like football was back. And it made me think about how much we watch sports because of fan interaction. And those stadiums being full, I think, added to the television experience. At least it did for me. And clearly it did for the audience. Now, you can also say it was an election year. There were a lot of factors last year that would have it down. But I think one of the big factors is people like turning on the TV and seeing atmosphere. Well, like they like seeing noise. They like seeing people in the stands.
It didn't do much in Charlotte, and it gave us a comparison there. You were talking about Wisconsin and what that felt like compared to what Charlotte felt like.
I mean, Charlotte was pretty cool.
Different.
Like, it was packed.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same as the Penn State-Wisconsin game. And you could feel the discernible difference. Last year, you weren't feeling a difference, really.
Well, you're acting like it's apples and oranges, though. It's very comparable. It's just Wisconsin's atmosphere was better because of the home.
Well, on campus is a different big-time college football on a big-time college football campus is a different animal than anything else.
Yeah, I think I would have missed the crowds less in a neutral site game between a Clemson and Georgia. If this game was played last year on a neutral site, I probably missed the crowd a little bit less for that reason. But when you have the on-campus mix of it, I think that adds to it. Again, I just really feel like I'm glad that football was played last year. Do not get me wrong about that. I'm thrilled that it was played in both college and the NFL. But all of this, football is back, I really feel like now it's back.
Well, the whole experience is better.
The whole experience is so different with that many people packing stadiums.
It also, to me, shows the importance of marquee matchups and what people are willing to watch. And for the life of me, I don't know why we don't see more of this in non-conference scheduling. because the numbers show that people are going to tune in for these big matchups. Georgia, Clemson. I love the match. You've got Alabama, Miami. Not much of a game, but I'm more in tune with that game than what I will be this week for the Crimson Tide. Jacob's got this Week 2 list, and for all the discussion about national TV ratings, I'm intrigued to see what this lineup is going to produce. With Alabama, Mercer, Georgia, and UAB. Ohio State, Oregon is a good matchup on Fox. Oklahoma takes on Western Carolina. You have A&M and Colorado. The list goes on and on. There are a couple of nice matchups here. Iowa State, Iowa.
That's 2 top 10 teams.
But it is few and far between.
Yes.
With the Week 2 drop-off compared to what we just got in Week 1.
So
for all the hype about the ratings on last weekend, we're about to see a nosedive on September 11th.
Texas, Arkansas this weekend, too. NC State, Mississippi State. I'm trying to think of major conference teams playing major conference teams. Tennessee, Pitt in the Johnny Majors Classic.
It's not as good.
They're not as good because those teams aren't top 20 teams, but those are programs that 7 years ago decided to play each other that are pretty big names in the sport.
Here's my question, though. And my app here, my score app, won't go back to Week 0. What was the biggest game? What was the first game?
What do you mean?
Nebraska,
Illinois.
0. Yeah. College
game had
football,
a huge number.
I think, should build up to, like, we've got the defending Super Bowl champs against America's team tomorrow night to kick off the NFL season. College football should have a kickoff like that. That's better. The Clemson game.
Georgia, Clemson.
Yeah, but that's not the first game. That's not.
You're saying the first game that
the first game that kicks off should be a big curtain-raising thing instead of this tiptoeing in up to that Saturday night when there have been several big college football nights already. I'm surprised they don't do that. It seems like a no-brainer.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.